What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with the next episode of Underrated and Overlooked, episode number 13. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. The Underrated and Overlooked series was a series that I started way back when, talking about some 2-star, 3-star, and now 4-star units that are potentially dark horses in all aspects of the game. We're going to be focusing on live PvP for this episode, and I have a special guest with me today, none other than our three-time Educate Dominate champ. We got Mr. HumanDynamo. The HumanDynamo. How you doing, baby?
What's going on, Childish?
I'm,
Breaking into multi-formats now with you. This is pretty special for me.
This is it, man. We did it up with the Educate and Dominate. Now we're breaking into a little bit of underrated and overlooked, trying to take it to that next level. So you know what it is.
Since you dethroned me as most often on the other one.
Yeah. I know. Well, it's sad that you're unfortunately going to be, partying with us. But I appreciate you coming on board and helping us out with this series.
Absolutely.
All right. So again, guys, if you haven't tuned in to the HumanDynamo, focusing on some stuff with regards to Educate and Dominate, I will go ahead and leave a link up top in the top right. So go ahead and check that out. But let's go ahead and get into the episode, guys. So today, the unit that we're going to be focusing on for the Underrated and Overlook is going to be the Light Golem Groggo. So, Dynamo, what is your take on this specific unit, sir?
Okay, so he was a monster when Guild Wars first came out. The live PvP with the current way that it's set up, it is tailor-made for Groggo. His first skill has the stun. It's got the provoke. It deals damage based on your defense, so that's awesome. Second skill increases your defense, gives you immunity, also increases your attack speed. Now, the reason that he is tailor-made for live PvP, though, is his passive. So no one attack can exceed 20% of his max HP. Now, with the way the current setup for the live PvP rules are, the longer the fight drags on, the lower the HP of all units in the fight, but the more damage they do. So the longer the fight goes out, the less damage he can take per attack. So it's a really weird system that somehow makes him even better than he already was.
Sure.
Where the longer you go, the less damage he takes per attack, and the more he just clubs people over the head.
Yeah. I really like his kit overall. I mean, I've been waiting for this unit for quite some time, and I was able to pull it off the Awakened, off of the not Magic Shop. I'm sorry, the what's it called? The wish list.
Oh wow!
So got really lucky on that. So I've been playing around with him with two water units versus Perna, in like Guild Wars and whatnot, and I found him pretty useful. Now, with regards to this particular unit, we're talking about what he can bring to the table. You've been able to kind of play around with this unit a little bit. What kind of compositions are you looking to bring this unit on? Obviously, this is kind of a unique unit and whatnot. You can't just throw it into any group.
Excuse me. You have a couple different options as far as team comps. You either want to have a speed leader to really maximize how many turns he can take, because let's face it, he's kind of slow. He's a golem. They're all slow as shit. So if you get a speed leader, it'll really maximize that. Plus his second skill will really help him crank out turns to CC the units that you really need to not deal with.
Mm-hmm.
The other option you have is running a universal defense leader, or if you're lucky enough to have a light-based defense leader like one of the Undines or the Dragon Knights, you can do that to really amp up his defense as well as his damage, because his damage does scale off of defense. You also have the option of doing stuff like running defense buffers, though he can self-buff. It's really about either the speed lead or the defense lead, and then having a healer that can keep him consistent. And I mean, that can be the water Neostone agent is great because she not only defense buffs and heals, but she can also kind of strip and glancing hit. So you have a few different options to go with that. And then you have Chasun and the other standard list of people. Just keep in mind that when you build him, his hit points are not going to be super high, so you do need to be able to keep him alive.
Gotcha. And of course, with regards to a unit like this, it seems like you said, Emma, those units that have that flat HP kind of a healer are just going to be more beneficial considering its passive and how it often works there.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So Rune builds. Rune builds. A lot of people got this unit, but they don't know how to build it. We got a couple of different builds out there. They're going to be pretty common. What is your take when it comes to live PvP? Does it change at all, or is it pretty much the same standard ones?
I personally, for live PvP, would run him one of two ways, but this is, again, going to be affected by your overall rune quality and the stats that you can generate. Right. The main two builds I personally would go would be main set either Vampire or Violent, with the offset being either Will or Guard, and here's why. His second skill will give him the immunity. So, and he, like I discussed before, he is slow. So if you don't get the chance to pop that immunity and they just CC him out, he becomes useless. Right. So that's why Will is a major contender. It buys you that first turn, get out of jail free card. Right. The second option is going to be Guard, just to increase his defense. Gotcha. Violent gives you the option to go multiple turns so that you can, reset that second skill and plug away with the first, CCing things and damaging them. Vampire is a really interesting set for him, though, because like we talked about, his HP is kind of low. Anything you can do to keep him alive, with him just popping units with that first skill, and his first skill does decent damage, right. He can almost self-sustain indefinitely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say Vampire is probably my favorite, with Violent a close second.
Gotcha. Cool. And I'll go ahead and showcase. It just so happens that one of our top players out there in the malicious crew, I think it's Less Than 5 here, rocking an amazing Groggo. If you haven't seen it already, we'll go ahead and showcase it to you. As I'm showcasing this, is there anything else you could think you add with regards to this unit? Anything that you want to kind of throw on there for live PvP?
Actually, I was going to kind of talk about the options you had for slot 4. I really like the way that's set up with crit damage. Mm-hmm. I personally run defense, crit damage, defense on mine, simply because, like I said, his first skill can put out some good numbers, so you may as well capitalize on that. Yeah. If you can't generate the numbers, though, running defense on slot 4 is perfectly acceptable. With him, like I said, the longer you go in the fight, the better, so if you have to drag it out into the deep waters, then he'll still come out on top.
Yeah, it's amazing. Actually, seeing some of these units, I think I've seen a couple of the Groggos crit for anywhere in like that 16 to 20K range. I don't know if you've seen anybody hit harder than that, but
that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty darn good. And considering his how his passive works, I mean, they just, unless they get a stun on him, it's pretty much done for. Can't stop. Cool. Well, all right, guys. That's pretty much it for this update on the Light Golem, featuring him in the Underrated and Overlooked series. What is your take on it? How do you guys build it? Please put it in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to give you guys a heads up on this particular unit. Well, all right, guys. That is it for this episode of Underrated and Overlooked. Thank you again, Dynamo, for coming on board. And if you guys haven't already, again, go ahead and check out those Educate and Dominates featured on the top right there. I appreciate your support as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish, or ChildishPlays, checking out. Take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Underrated and Overlooked. I'm out.